Hey everyone, it's Alice here. I'm back with another fun video for you guys. Today we are going to be drawing mushrooms and I'm going to show you how. So let's get started. So first I'm going to show you what supplies I like to use when I doodle. What I like to use to draw with are my Sakura Micron pens. These are really nice pigmented pens that I use to doodle with. And then my paper that I like to use is watercolor paper. I'm using watercolor paper so that I'll be able to paint my doodles later and cut them out to paste into my bullet journal. So when you start drawing a mushroom, you want to start with the head of the mushroom. So for this one, I drew a curved line for the top, and then I drew some little squiggly lines on the bottom half of the shape. And now I'm going to draw the stem. So the mushroom stems do not have to be perfectly straight because mushrooms have an organic shape, so that if you want to make it look really natural and more realistic, they shouldn't be geometric in shape. The shape should be a little more wiggly and organic. So now, after I've drawn the underbelly of the mushroom, I am going back in with some hatching. So hatching is basically when you use lines to overlap and add an illusion of dimension to your drawing. So I'm using hatching to add some type of shading to my mushroom. Even though I don't have like a charcoal pencil, I can use hatching to give my doodle more texture and visual interest. Now that I've completed the mushroom, I'm going to finish it off with some polka dots. So now let's draw another type of mushroom. This one's going to be a little one. This one has a more curvy dome shape. It's kind of like a crescent moon if you roll it on its side. And I just added a little bit of hatching to it. This mushroom looks more like a gumdrop on the top part, and I just added a touch of hatching to the top and the bottom of the belly there, and also the stem. And then this one is more wide and flat. It looks like a little hat actually, and the stem is more wiggly. So these next two mushrooms have a reversed underbelly, so you can see more of it on them. And I'm going to add my hatching lines now after I've drawn out the top part, which has two wavy lines connected. Then I'm just going to add a little more hatching on the bottom there to give it a shadow. And I'm going to draw a thick wiggly stem. The next one's a little bit shorter. You see I have a very wavy organic top and also a thick stem on the bottom. And then my next one is long and kind of pointy. And I'm adding these scalloped designs onto it with a little bit of hatching to give it some more texture. And after the hatching, I'm gonna finish it off with a little tiny stem. Next, I'm going to draw these cute little gumdrop-like looking mushrooms. It has a little dome shape with a straight line underneath. I think these are called shiitake mushrooms, if I'm not mistaken. So my last mushroom on this page is going to be a very short one with a little bit of hatching on it. And there you have it. This is my first set of mushrooms. So let's move on to the next set. This first mushroom is going to be huge. So I'm drawing a big curved line first. And this one's gonna have more of its underbelly showing. So I'm drawing the top of it very high up and then putting the stem in the center where you can see it. And then I'm going to finish it off with some more hatching. And as I'm hatching, I am layering the lines so that they create more of a deeper shadow in the center of the mushroom where the stem comes out of. And the lines are more spread apart at the outer edges. This next mushroom has a more tapered point at the top and then it widens out at the bottom, and I'm going to add a cute little fin line design on it with a fin stem. These cluster of mushrooms here have a really pointy top and a very wide bottom. I'm also adding some little folds on the bottom of the mushrooms there, and their stems are going to be really thin. These next two mushrooms are going to have really thin stems and a wide brimmed top with some hatching on the underbelly. And I'm layering more hatching towards the center there to give it more dimension. For this little mushroom in the corner here, I'm going to use the stippling technique. And with that technique, what you're basically going to do is you are going to add layers of dots to create texture on whatever you're drawing. And if you space the dots out more, it's going to look lighter in that area. And if you layer more dots together, it's going to look more dense and give it more of a shadow. So my dots are more spread out at the top of the mushroom head here, and on the bottom I am making it more dense with more dots. With my last mushroom on this page, I'm just going to create a short stouty one with some hatching on the underbelly to finish it off. So that was my second page of little mushrooms. And I'll show you the third page now. I'm going to draw a big mushroom with a large underbelly and a thick stem. And I'm gonna add those hatching lines to give it texture again, that ribbed look. And more shadowing on the bottom. And then the next mushroom is going to have a very wide brim, and I'm gonna add these tiny little U shapes onto it to give it an interesting texture, and tiny little hatching marks inside of the little U's. And I'm going to finish it off with a little stem with some designs on it. For my next mushroom, I'm going to give it a thick top with some hatching on the bottom side, and I'm gonna add little polka dots on it, and I'm going to fill in the negative space with my black brush pen so it gives it a different color. You are free to add your own color. Usually this would probably be a red to make it into a toadstool. With this big mushroom here, I'm going to try to shade it using my calligraphy brush pen from the same Sakura brand. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay the brush on its side and gently kind of go over some areas with a thick, dense amount of ink. And then I'm flicking my brush out for more texture lightly on the paper. So if you flick the brush very lightly, it's going to give you that more textured feel in the middle there, and it's going to give your mushroom a different look. Now I'm going to draw some more teeny tiny mushrooms with some simple hatching on the bottom. And this one is a skinny little mushroom with some hatching. I'm going to make it really dense at the top, almost black. And then this one is a teeny tiny version of the large underbelly one. This mushroom has a thick little stem with some designs all around it, and then hatching on the inside. And I'm also going to add some U-shaped textures on the stem. Here's a mushroom with a little leaf that got stuck on top of it, and I'm just going to hatch it a little bit to give it a different design. And here's a cute little baby mushroom with some black dots on it. So as you can see, all of these mushrooms have so many varieties to them, and you can just have a lot of fun doodling them. I sure did. I learned a lot actually when I tried to draw all of these different mushrooms. So now I have a lot of variety when I'm drawing. They're not all just one shape. They all look very different, and there's so many different ways to draw them. So that was my doodle video on mushrooms. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you really enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!